I got a call from the distributor. Hans, you should come and listen to this new wireless system. Since I know the man, I immediately drove down to the next village where his office is. From the first tones I was blown away, and although I rarely do loudspeaker reviews, I had to do these. The AccuVoice Stream S3 speaker system, which I will call the Stream S3 from now on, are two active loudspeakers, a small control box and a remote control. As we will see, it does the same as a pair of passive loudspeakers, a 2x600 watts amplifier, a network player, a comprehensive equalizer and room correction. Connect the control box to your router over either Wi-Fi or network cable, and you can play internet radio stations, AirPlay 2, Chromecast, Roon, Spotify Connect, Tidal Connect, Qobuz Connect and Bluetooth. And then there are 6 digital inputs. Let's take a look at the control box. Although it says AccuVoice on the top, it is a Platin WiSA Stereo Hub HT. Platin is, next to a manufacturer of WiSA speaker systems, also OEM manufacturer of WiSA products for other manufacturers. When we look at the back of the unit, we see a subwoofer output, an analog line input, Toslink optical input 1, 2 and 3, a SPDIF coax input, a USB-A port for an external drive, a USB-B port for connecting a computer, a control LED for WiSA connection, a pairing button, an HDMI ARC/eARC input, the LAN port, the power inlet in the form of a USB-C, and the Wi-Fi and Bluetooth antenna. All inputs except 192 kHz at 24 bits, unless the medium can't provide it. You won't get 88.2 kHz from a CD, for instance. I came across one small problem. It won't play 96 kHz right from the streaming unit. The music will stutter. It will do 44.1, 48, 88.2, 176 and 192 kHz without a problem. It's just 96 kHz 24 bits that stutters. I'm sure that's a bug that will be ironed out soon. But if 96 kHz is very important to you, check prior to buying if it's already fixed. There are no controls with the exception of the WiSA pairing button. Everything but the streaming functions can be controlled using the free Platin Audio app or remote control. Let's look at the remote control first. It has a mute button and a standby button. Below it, 2 rows of LEDs. The left one showing the volume settings, the right one the active input. Next to the inputs we found on the back, also Bluetooth can be chosen as input. Below it, a cursor type controller. Press up and down for volume and left and right for input selection. The skip back, play pause and skip forward button can control the streamer in use. Then we come to the speakers themselves. The Stream S3 loudspeakers are available in pearl beige, royal blue, dark titanium grey and aluminium grey. The aluminium tweeter assembly can be ordered in black, champagne gold and red. The cabinet is made from 25mm high-density fiberboard. It has 2 120mm subwoofers, one on each side. These are mechanically coupled and operate in phase to cancel force and thus minimize cabinet vibrations. On the front, 2 130mm mid-low drivers and a 29mm silk dome tweeter are placed in Dapolito layout. This configuration, with 2 mid-range drivers and a tweeter in between, when correctly filtered and phase aligned, ensures a narrower vertical dispersion. As a result, the early reflections from floor and ceiling are reduced and thus improving the stereo imaging. The tweeter is mounted on a thick, solid CNC milled aluminium front to reduce vibrations. On the back we see the plate amplifier, a compact unit that holds 4 150-watt amplifiers, digital filtering, a WiSA receiver and an analog input. I would have loved to open this up, but unfortunately the screws used require a screwdriver I did not have and was not available in the hardware store. Again, this unit is an OEM from Platin. Now let's look at the panel up close. There is an IEC mains input, a power switch and a button to select a channel that doubles as a pairing button. This part of the plate shows the wireless connection and whether it is attached to the left or right channel and whether a subwoofer is set up. This can also be controlled from the Platin Audio app. The standard control box was limited to 2 channels plus subwoofer. A 7.1 controller is also available. The speakers support a 7.1 setup. They can also work with an analog signal. The sensitivity can be set here in 3 steps of 6 dB. Since the room correction is handled by the Platin WiSA Stereo Hub HT, room correction is not available when the analog input is used. As said, there are 4 150 watt amplifiers on board each speaker. I suppose one is driving the tweeter, one the mid-low drivers, while the last 2 amps each drive a subwoofer. The active crossover is programmed using proprietary Platin software. But the qualities of the crossover is mainly down to whoever did the design of the filtering and the implementation using that software. Given the Dapolito configuration and the mechanically coupled subwoofers, I suspect an experienced speaker designer has been at work here. AccuVoice has added installation instructions that only needed a single page. Follow that and you're up and running in 15 minutes, probably sooner. One step is downloading the app. When opening, the app asks you for permission to search for WiSA components in your network. Agree and you'll see the Stream S3. Tap on it and you can select an input. If a music signal is present on one of the inputs, it automatically switches to that input. When there is music signal on more than one input, it picks the highest in order as shown here. You now first set the speaker layout in 2.0 or 2.1, in other words, without or with subwoofer. If you have chosen the 2.1 layout, you can set the high pass and low pass frequencies and the subwoofer level. You can also set the channel levels and distances, although that has limited relevance for a stereo setup. Place the speakers at the optimal places in your listening room. When that is done, it is time to perform room correction measurements. If you have a recent iPhone or can lend one, you can do the measurements using the internal microphone. Since the microphone in the iPhone is a so-called pressure receiver, it has by nature a rather linear behavior on the low end. The room correction works below 300 Hz. Android users can use the optional Platin Zen microphone. Now you tap the 3 sliders icon in the bottom right corner. Tap front, tap on redo and choose how deep the correction should work. I chose 20 Hz. Ignore the other settings now and tap the check mark. You are now ready to slowly move the Zen microphone or the mic in your iPhone around the listening position. Make about 80 cm wide circles at ear level, 50 cm lower and 50 cm higher. Never stand between the microphone and the loudspeakers. Then tap stop and follow the instructions on the screen. I made this screen video after the listening test with the speakers in storage, so the graph looks rather wild, but you get the point. Now you're ready to evaluate the sound. If it sounds great, you're ready. I needed 3 measurement rounds to get a close to perfect one, but then the result was very good. The Stream S3 setup took the place of my reference setup 1. Next to the power and network connections, I needed only to connect the HDMI ARC connection on my TV to the HDMI ARC input on the stereo hub. When the set-top box was switched on, so was the TV and the Stream S3 speakers. When I started up Roon and linked it to the Stream S3, I could immediately play music. I didn't have to switch inputs. I also tried Cobus Connect, Tidal Connect, Spotify Connect and apps that used Apple AirPlay 2 and Google Cast, and it all worked fine. This is the most comfortable setup I have ever set up and used. That's all great, but what about the sound quality? This is where the Stream S3 gets really interesting, for it reproduces very deep lows, as can be seen in this third octave spectrum. 32 Hz is clearly present. The mid-lows are very open, while there is extremely fast mids and highs. I never heard microdynamics like this in a €6,500 stereo. Pace and rhythm are very good. The music flows very natural, and the stereo image is rather deep and wide, with very good pinpointing. When the bassline plays, voices remain untouched. You don't just hear a solid hit on a snare drum, you feel it too. It has a serious bite. That of course has to do with the surplus of power the four amplifiers can deliver directly to the drivers. At the same time, strings can have that sweet rounded sound when played like that. If the amps are Class D, which is most likely, I don't hear faults earlier Class D had. You might now get the idea that there is nothing sounding better than the Streamer S3. That, of course, is not the case. Listening to my setup 1A helped me out of that dream, but it let me enjoy music at a level I have never heard in this price category. I rate the setup top lower half of my setup 1B. And then there is the versatility. It is Roon certified, handles Tidal Connect, Qobuz Connect, Spotify Connect, Google Cast and Apple AirPlay 2 without breaking a sweat. You also get 4 AS3 digital inputs, USB-B and HDMI eARC, Bluetooth and an analog line input. Add an RIAA preamp and you're ready to spin vinyl too. The AccuVoice Stream S3 combines ease of use we know from those plastic wireless speakers with the sound quality of a top hi-fi product at a very attractive price. And at that bombshell, we come to the end of this video. A new one is coming soon, so don't forget to subscribe or follow me on Patreon, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram or TikTok. Patreon and YouTube Premium members get early access and no ads. A huge thank to everyone who supports the channel financially. Please don't be shy, I appreciate every single euro, pound and dollar or equivalent you donate. You keep me independent and motivated. It's easy to contribute using the QR code on screen or the links in the description. I'm Hans Beekhuizen, thank you for watching, and whatever you do, enjoy the music.